Woo, we're live.
There
Woohoo!
you go. And I was worried about doing it like that because I've had this, not this particular one, but other ones from this winery, and the corks are in so tight. It took me 5 minutes, and that's why I was rushing to get here today. But hey, welcome to Winephabet Street. Letter of the day is G, and we are drinking sparkling.
Yeah. What do you got? Let me see yours.
I am drinking. Oops, it would help if I wasn't covering the name. Okay. I am drinking Terra de San Venanzio. And this is a sample. I received this along with three others or two others.
Oh, nice.
As a sample.
This is a JEIO.
Oh, okay.
And, my friend Paige picked this out for me, who owns Boutique Wines and Spirits, or Boutique Liquors in Fishkill, New York.
Wow.
She picked it out for me.
So before we get into the whole episode, I have to say that Debbie and I are a little upset today because we were supposed to be together this weekend in Cape May, sabering off of her boat, and we were going to hold the episode outside in the bay or on the water. We were going somewhere on the water to hold this episode, but alas, we are 3,000 miles apart again and drinking virtually. But hey, at least we're drinking.
That's right. And we're together, although we're just not together.
Together. So let's get going. I will start our little video here. Got cut off a little bit early, but hey. So welcome to Winephabet Street. Today, the letter of the day is G, and we are talking Glera. And Glera is a really cool topic, I think anyway, because it has a little sordid history because its name came about because of the region. But I don't want to get too far into that because we will cover that all together. I'm sure Debbie has quite a bit about that. But Glera is a grape, and we are going to toast to the Glera grape because it is Prosecco. So, Slancha.
Mine's a little on the sweet side.
Yeah, there's a little hint of sweetness on this one too. But ooh, the acidity, it's nice acidity. Yeah. And it is it's got citrus fruit like in your face.
Mine's kind of a mellow. It's acidic. It's kind of mellow on the fruit. Nothing is popping out. You know, it's okay.
I officially just open it.
I did just open it.
And mine has been open for about 2 minutes before yours was. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see how it evolves.
I have to say,
Jacuzzi Prosecco. Karen's drinking Jacuzzi Prosecco.
Oh, I've had that Prosecco.
Have you?
Nice. Yes. Jacuzzi is the sister brand of Klein, and they are legitimately right across the street. But Jacuzzi is all Italian, varietals. So, and it's a beautiful winery. So I usually go to Klein to play with all the animals, and to drink the wine, but to play with all the animals. And then I go across the street to sit in their little area that makes me feel like I'm in Italy. So
nice.
You have to do them both. But I actually went on Amazon, and for this episode, I actually purchased this.
Okay.
And I love it. I've used it.
Yeah, I have a couple of them.
Yeah, so I got one from Stephanie Schwab of Gregory and Vine when we went to an event, and I have it in Jersey, and I love it. So I was like, you know what? That's in Jersey. I'm going to have to get it here in California. So I bought it on Amazon. I don't think it works as well as the one that Stephanie got me, but I paid $9 for 6 of them. So if this breaks,
Oh, that's not bad.
I have plenty. I have plenty more, but it does really work. So if anybody who is interested in who likes bubbles, this is great because you can put it on while you're drinking, and you just kind of push it on, and then it stays on. And while you're drinking your glass, the bubbles stay in.
So I bought some last year. Similar. I have that. I have the one that you have. Then I also have one that I used yesterday after we got off on our offline thing. I went over to a friend's house, social distanced, and I capped it, and it went on similar, but it went on like this, and then you pump it.
Oh, okay.
And so we're in the truck, and we're going over there, and I had a bag of wine, and I went to move it, and I hit it, and the whole thing popped up.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know of any that you pump for sparkling. Like I know that.
Yeah, this one you pumped it.
So, yeah, that's awesome.
So there's some good tools out there for it.
Yeah, I like it a lot because as you're enjoying your bubbles, the bubbles, emanate, they dissipate, and by the time you put down to the end of the glass,
yeah.
So it saves it.
So well, yeah, it's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
It really is.
All right, so let's get started. Debbie, you are up first for the history of Glera.
Well, we need to introduce ourselves.
Oh, we didn't. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Very hectic.
Have you? So I'm Debbie Giaquindo. I'm known as the Hudson Valley Wine Goddess. I'm a wine blogger. I'm a wine writer. I'm author of a book called Tapping the Hudson Valley, and I'm co-owner of a restaurant called Kitchen 330 in Stone Harbor, New Jersey, and we are open right now just Fridays and Saturdays for takeout and delivery. And it's just the three of us working the kitchen and getting the food out, and it's fine dining in a box, pretty much. And our busboy Kyle is doing all the deliveries, so we're keeping him employed, and I think that's probably about it right now.
And I am Lori, and my husband and I own Dracaena Wines and Paso Robles, and we specialize in Cabernet Franc. We are now getting ready to introduce Chenin Blanc. It is now really, really, really official because the contract has been signed. So it is really, really official. And
so hear that, all Kitchen 330 people, you're going to be able to get a Chenin Blanc next year.
Yes, yes. So I'm very excited about that. And in addition to graduating from UC Davis winemaking program, I am a WSET Level 2 program graduate with distinction. And I just saw online today that I can become a champagne specialist.
Oh, I'm one of those.
I know you are. So
yeah, it was a great course. Is it port and champagne? Is it the port and champagne one?
No, just straight champagne.
Oh, okay. Because mine was port and champagne.
So what else am I doing in isolation? So I think I'm going to take that class. So that's me.
Okay. So you want me to get rolling with the
history of Glera?
Okay. Let's see here. Looking here, slides. Start presentation. Okay. So the history of the G is for Glera, the Glera grape. This I always found so, fascinating because Prosecco is a region and it was a grape. and they had to make a change, and I'm going to go into that a little bit later. So when you think of Prosecco, it's really the Glera grape, and the Glera grape makes up 85% or more of the Prosecco that you're drinking. They're one and the same, Prosecco and Glera. Glera was known as Prosecco, and actually Prosecco Tundo. And so the roots of Prosecco, the Glera grape is thought to be a grape of Slovenian origin. It's believed it was brought into the village of Prosecco from Slovenia's Karst region, which is on the border of the southwestern Slovenia and northeastern Italy. And before I go even further, any mispronunciation, because that's just something I fail at, I apologize. The name is derived from prosec, which is a term relating to a path cut through the woods. The wine Prosecco was named after a former village in the Carso Plateau that is now a suburb of Trieste in the Friuli area, where the grape was probably will have passed through. And it is thought that the grape was the grape that was celebrated by the Pliny elder. And on a side note, there's a sweet pasito wine called Prošek that is made in Croatia for over 1,000 years. And in 2013, the EU banned the use of this name because it was considered to be too similar to Prosecco, which is the Italian sparkling wine. I just thought that was just kind of like a interesting.
People are territorial. Don't want
That's right. Well, centers of wine origin and name and place. So it's kind of important. So here I'm going to go back to 1876. It's modern, kind of like it was yesterday, when enologist Giovanni Battista Soretti founded the oh my goodness, I can't pronounce it. The wine school enology place in Colonnade. How do you pronounce that? Con El Gelano?
I don't know.
Okay.
Conliano.
Okay. Yeah. The chief objective of the school was to improve and better organize the winemaking industry. And in 1895, Federico Martinati, who was over in Piedmont, developed a patent for the technique of conducting the second fermentation in a large pressurized temperature-controlled receptacle. And what I'm getting here is this is how Prosecco is made. This is how the Glera grape is processed. So now this is Eugene Charmant, who in 1907 patented the process of the second tank fermentation, hence the Charmant method, which is the method that Prosecco is made. The second fermentation happens in the pressurized tank, and it wasn't until after World War II that the Charmant method of making wine was instituted throughout the Conleglio Valladolid region, and modern day wine industry was born. So the grapes are picked, they're pressed, the first fermentation happens, the second fermentation goes into the pressurized tank, it's filtered, and it's bottled. So now we have a name change. So Prosecco was always known as Prosecco, and it was used to indicate a wine, a grape variety, and a production area. And it wasn't possible to name the wine growing region after a grape variety. So because of this restriction, it left it wide open for counterfeit and abuse. And it was being produced in Prosecco di Conegliano and the Valladolid DOCs and several Prosecco IGTs that covered other areas of Veneto and the Friuli Venezia area. And in 2009, 2 new quality designations were introduced with the aim to protect and regulate Prosecco wine. The district of Conegliano Valladolid was elevated to DOCG, and the various Prosecco IGTs were united and elevated to a single Prosecco DOC. To identify Prosecco as a designation of origin, the name of the Prosecco grape had to be changed, or producers from other regions could grow and make Prosecco wines. So Glera, which is a Friulian synonym for Prosecco grape, was chosen as the new name. So now Prosecco is a protected place, name, and any wine produced from the Glera grape outside of Conegliano Valladolid DOCG and Oslo Prosecco DOCG or Prosecco DOC must be labeled IGT using the varietal name Glera on the label. So anything made outside of the area has to be labeled Glera. So Glera is grown on 7,191 hectares in the Conegliano Valladolid DOCG and 20,000 hectares in the Prosecco DOC. Wines labeled Conegliano Valladolid Superior Prosecco DOCG are produced exclusively on the hills between the 2 towns of Conegliano and Valladolid in the Treviso province. And this also applies to Spumante. Wines labeled Valladolid Superior di Carzi DOCG, that's the cream of the crop. And it's that type of Prosecco is usually on the more expensive side. It's made in 3 types. You have Spumante, which is 3.5 atmospheric pressures. You have Frizzante, which is 0.1 to 2.5 atmospheric pressure ATMs. And you also have still. They do make the Glera in a still form. However, it's not exported. I will say I did have the opportunity to taste it in still form at a Prosecco seminar a couple years ago in New York City. And it was nice. It was really nice. So some things to know about the wine itself. Dry wines have between 17 and 32 grams of residual sugar. Extra dry has between 12 and 17 grams of residual sugar, and brut has between 0 and 12 grams of residual sugar. If it says Rive on the label, R-I-V-E, it means it comes from a single village, which will be followed by the word Rive. It's hand harvested, and for Rive, there are 32 villages. So here I found this kind of interesting because, you know, you're always talking about the family. And the Glera family is shown here. Glera is the parent, along with Cabernet Sauvignon, to a grape called Incrocio Manzoni 2.15. And its parent with Cabernet Franc to Incrocio Manzoni 2.14. Now, Manzoni is the last name of the professor. Luigi is his name. Manzoni, at the school, he did the crossings. And Incrocio is Italian for crossing. So it's crossing of the Manzino, 2.15 and 2.14. And the grape breeder is the second half, which Manzoni. So I thought that was just kind of interesting. So there is life after the Glera grape, and Glera is a parent. And Glera's got some kids out there.
It's awesome. I actually didn't know that Cab Franc. You just taught me a Cab Franc fact that I
There you
didn't
go.
know.
Celebrate that on Cab Franc Day.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting because, I mean, I've had the opportunity to taste the Glera grape still.
Yes.
And it's not as acidic as I thought it would be. But it was still kind of cool. But
yeah, it's just made in small production that they don't even be
and
extra.
we'll only see this in the States as Prosecco, the grape.
Right. Okay, so I have general characteristics. Now, as you mentioned, Debbie, Glera was originally known as Prosecco, but as the region became a DOCG in 2009, the name was changed to the use of the variety term to avoid confusion. And although the true origin of Glera is not 100% proven, there's, like you were talking about, there's clues. It is generally accepted that it does originate from Prosecco, which is located near the Italian-Slovenian border, which is what you discussed. Now that picture looks familiar, doesn't it? So there are 3 actual main biotypes of Prosecco or Glera, and that is Prosecco Lungo, Prosecco Tondo, and Prosecco Nostrano. So when drinking a Prosecco, you are guaranteed at least 85%. They cannot legally claim it, label it Prosecco, unless it contains 85%. That doesn't mean that it cannot be 100% Glera. It just means that it needs to be a minimum of 85%. And as you said, although there are few still wines, we're not going to see them unless you are lucky enough to be at a Prosecco event or a Glera event. The mass majority of Prosecco is either Frisanti or full sparkling, which is known as Spumante. So here's a big thing for, all of us saber people, okay? Do not ever attempt to saber a Frisanti, okay? A Frisanti doesn't have enough bar pressure for it to be sabered. The glass will crack, you will explode, and you will lose your drink and probably cut your hand. Okay, so not enough pressure for that. So do not saber a Frisanti. Since it is naturally acidic grape and possesses a rather neutral palate, Glera is ideal for sparkling. There's my little picture to remind everybody, do not saber. Aromatics of the Glera grape or of Prosecco tend to be green apple, honeydew, pear, peach, and very often you will get some white flowers, including honeysuckle. Wine Searcher says a typical aroma is soapiness. Now, I personally have never experienced soapiness, but if that's what Wine Searcher is saying, then I'll throw that out there. But I've never had a Prosecco that I would say, oh, that's soapiness. So, and also the minimum, in order to be labeled as Prosecco, it does need to have a minimum alcohol of 8.5% ABV. It is a light-bodied wine that has small bubbles, but due to the process it is made in, it tends to disperse faster than champagne, which is why I have my little stopper here, okay? Typically, if you have a high-quality champagne, because of the process that it's made, the bubbles are small, but they don't disperse quickly, right? You can keep that. That's one of the quality characteristics of champagne is how long the bubbles stay. But because Prosecco is made in this tank method, the bubbles, although small, will disappear quickly. So if you're going to drink Prosecco, I highly recommend keeping it covered during while you are enjoying your glass. As with champagne, Prosecco has the labeling requirements on its sweetness levels. So if you are looking for, if you see Brut on the Prosecco, it is 0 to 12 grams per liter of residual sugar and up to a half a gram per glass. Extra dry is 12 to 17 grams per liter of residual sugar and just over a half a gram of sugar per glass. And dry is 17 to 32 grams per liter residual sugar, and you can have up to 1 gram of sugar per glass. So this one is a dry, so it is expected to have that sweetness. Prosecco is best served when cold, so you're looking to serve it between 38 and 45 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 3 to 7 degrees Celsius. And just like today, champagne, although the flute is what most people, think about when they drink champagne or Prosecco, you really kind of better off with a tulip-shaped glass. So this is actually, my glass is actually a Riedel champagne glass.
That was mine.
Yeah, it's not a straight flute. It bulbs out into a tulip shape. The shape of the glass does matter when you're drinking, any wine, but it does really matter when you're drinking any sparkling, because it's going to determine how fast those bubbles reach your nose and how much of the bubbles reach your nose. So like if you really want those bubbles to get your nose, then yeah, use a flute, because as soon as you bring it up, the bubbles are going to go up, but know that it's going to dissipate. Okay. The coupes, okay, you're going to get less of those bubbles in your face because the glass is so big. And that's where that tulip shape comes in. It kind of gives you that bulbous part of the glass. So it helps to maintain those bubbles, but then kind of focuses in a little bit so that you do get the bubbles. So it's like the happy medium of wine glasses. Okay, quality classifications. Prosecco DOC is the easiest to find, as it is the most Prosecco, and it can be produced within 9 provinces of Italy throughout Veneto and Friuli Venezia regions. Prosecco Conegliano, Valdobbiadene, Superior, DOCG. Grapes are blended from smaller, more focused growing area between Valdobbiadene and Conegliano in the hills. These hills are known to produce some of the most concentrated Prosecco wines. Assola Prosecco DOCG is actually across the river from the Conegliano, and Valdobbiadene region is a smaller hillside region formerly known as Colli Assolani. And Prosecco Conegliano Valdobbiadene Superior, DOCG. Wines are made from 43 specific commune vineyards within the Conegliano Valdobbiadene region. And finally, Valdobbiadene Superior de Cartese, DOCG, is the smallest. You're going to have only 265 acres to the west of Valdobbiadene, and these are considered to be the finest Prosecco vineyards or terroirs in the world.
And they say $75 plus for a bottle from there.
Absolutely, absolutely. When you're picking fruit, when you're getting fruit from 265 acres, that price is going to go up. I do not recall having the luxury of ever tasting one of those, and I would have to think I would have if I would remember it if I had.
I'm trying to think in that seminar, I might have tasted one.
Yeah, so
seminar I was late for because I was on the L train and it got stuck two stops before I was, I had to get off. And knowing that I was getting off right and where I had to go was right at that stop, I wore heels. And after being stuck on the subway for a half an hour, I got off the minute the doors opened and we got to a stop.
Wow. And you were very tired and sore after.
Oh, yeah. When I walked into the seminar, they said, you were on the L train? I'm like, yeah.
Yes. So Prosecco I think it is a great value. it's a beautiful, it can produce beautiful wines and at a relatively low cost. And granted, you can go very high in the cost, but the wines
Right.
you see.
And I also think that the Prosecco, there's such a wide spectrum
Right.
of flavor and taste, pretty much with the sweetness. I wish they put the sweetness scale on the back of the bottle, like the
Like
Riesling
you don't have
scale.
to remember.
Yeah, because I mean, this one is that I'm drinking. It's okay, but I really like the Rusto better.
Oh, okay. Right.
You
Right.
know, so when you
I
find
do love the Rustico.
yeah, when you find that Prosecco that you like, then you kind of compare everything to it. This just has a little bit. I mean, it's fine. I'll drink it. You know, but I think I like it a little less. It just, I'm very sensitive to sweetness, so it does have a little bit more sweetness than I would prefer.
And I do think it's a little bit confusing because, you know, the name is dry, yet it's the highest
Yeah,
sweetness
I
level.
mean, it's a very elegant Prosecco, this Prosecco. And I think it was $20.
Okay.
So it's not as cheap as one would be. But and it's funny because when I was in Paige's store, she said, "Do you want something sweet or dry?" I go, "Something more drier." So the other Prosecco she had must have been sweeter. Because when I'm in Fishkill, I let her, and she's got the wines, I let her pick them out for me. So tell me, what wines do I need for Winephabet Street?
Perfect.
So
So do you want to talk about your wine?
sure, absolutely. So let's see here. Gotta find it. Here you go. Now let me get my notes up on it. So actually, this winery it's actually a love story.
Aw.
Yeah, it's a love story of the Bissell family, Bisol, and they family had a love for their vineyards, and Giovanna Bissell called her husband Desario Gio, Jeio, and that's where the name comes from. And so there's 5 centuries and 21 generations that love the land and the wine. And the Bissell family has been in the heart of the Prosecco production area called Chartres. And the current, and they have vineyards on the expensive part in Cartiz as well. And these are the 2 brothers that are in charge today. Oh, you can't see, I'm sitting here with my pointer. So there's some handsome dudes, aren't they?
Yes. Italian men do know how to dress.
Oh, I know. So during World War I, the wine trade, Elsha Bissell started, came to a halt, and Valladolid was on the border of the opposed Austrian-Hungarian army. And I'm not sure if my slides are correct on this, but after the war in the mid-20s, the family resumed production, and Desario was at the realm. And then after World War II, Desario, known as Gio, searched for more land in the hills of Valladolid and Congigliano because he wanted his wine to reflect the terroirs of the region. So the plots that they have are steep and they're hard to work, but their rewards are bountiful. And this is the Prosecco. And when I was researching the food and wine pairings, I came across a biscotti recipe. And I was so impressed with how this biscotti came out. It was a lemon biscotti, and actually it'll taste really well with this.
So it tastes great with this also.
But actually, I ate all the biscotti before we could Winephabet Street, so I don't have any to eat with it. But I just got a shipment of eggs today, so when they delivered my groceries, so I will have make more because They were really good. 4 children run the business now. So it's you know, it's all in the family. So this Prosecco, the vines, the grapes come from are up on the steep hills, 200 meters in elevation. The exposure is south, east, and west. And it's fermented in stainless steel tanks for 15 days, cold maceration for 12 hours, and Charmat method in autoclaves. It is 85% Glera, 15% Chardonnay, and the rest is, it's 15% Chardonnay, Pinot Blanco, and Pinot Grigio mix. It's 11.5% in alcohol. Residual sugar is 9 grams per liter. And, you know, then as it warmed up a little bit,
right?
Let me, you don't have to sit and look at the biscottis. As it warmed up a little bit, I could smell green apple and some wisteria in the on the bouquet, and then it's soft and elegant. It's got a little bit creaminess to it. I still get a lot of I get green apple, but it's not tart green apple, and like a hint of maybe pear to it. A little on the finish, it finishes with a little bit of, I would say, citrus peel.
Yep.
It's an elegant. It's nice. It's elegant. You know, it's not a bad Prosecco at all. No, it really, it's growing on me.
Yeah, I was gonna say what you said. I was like, you literally just opened it. It's like,
I know. So as it opens, you know, things need to breathe. Things need to breathe. They need that air to get into it. Sometimes it might have been too cold, so I couldn't get anything. So as the wine warms up, you'll get more of the flavors. More things become apparent. That's why, you know, when you immediately sip a wine, regardless, and if it just comes out of the bottle, you know, you get your first impressions, but it will change over the time as you drink that bottle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. My wine, as I mentioned, is it was a sample. So I received 3. Oh wait, let me stop presentation. I received 3 bottles from them. So this is what came with the Prosecco. So
I like the font.
Yeah, isn't it pretty?
Yeah.
Terra de San Venanzio, and this is their
Very
vineyard,
nice.
right? So it is beautiful. You can see that it's got quite a bit of, you know, topography going on through there, and they make a lot of different types of Prosecco. They go from an extra brew to a superior brew to a demi brew, extra dry. This one is the Superior Fortunato Mellizamato. They make a Superior Brut, a Superior Dry, still going, a Frizzante, and then a Travasio Extra Dry. And then they kind of changed the label a little bit for an Omnia Extra Dry. And I didn't get this one, but I wish I had a Brut Rosé.
Ooh.
So they are located. Here's their little map of where they are. Okay. And prior to them reaching out to me, I've never heard of their winery, but this is the 3rd one, and each one has been very good. I've been impressed with each of them. And there's on my Instagram post today is another bottle that I had. Mike and I have been sitting outside in the nice weather and enjoying them. So they really are.
What's the price range?
You know, that did not come. I have no idea. That's the only paperwork they sent me, and there's no price range in it. And when I was kind of doing a quick search, I couldn't find price points on them. So I really don't know. But so we have, go back to my winery here. Terra di San Venanzio. Okay. So they are located in Valdobbiadene. Prosecco Superiore Fortunato is the wine itself. Their motto or logo, brand, I guess, image is inspired by the figure of San Venanzio Fortunato. Our cellar was created to evoke and recall the values and ties to our lands. And that is their winery, which won gold medals for, I think, the actual processing, how they process the winery, at the winery. In 2007, Gabriel Gregolo and Monica Gans chose the name of their winery in honor of the poet and saint San Venanzio Fortunato, who recorded extensive journals on vineyard maintenance. So I thought that was kind of cool. He's a saint, but he paid attention to vineyards. He believed in managing the vines with respect to the land, and that is the philosophy of the winery today. Venanzio Fortunato was born around 530 BC near Treviso. He was priest and bishop of Poitiers, and he wrote many poetic and literary works. The hymn was composed on the occasion of the relic of the cross sent by Emperor Justin II to Saint Radegonda, Queen of the Franks. And he died around 604. And that cannot make sense because I have that he was born 530 BC and died 604 AD. So that definitely is not right. I'm going, that can't be right. It's got to be 530 and 604. So he was like 70 something years old. So these are the Onery Winers. They located right next to the most prestigious and renowned DOCG, the Cartezze. Monica was born in Valdobbiadene and has always worked in the world of Prosecco. At one time being responsible for the secretariat of the Strada del Prosecco and Vine de Colle Conegliano Valdobbiadene. She was the director of the Alta Marca and the National Exhibition of Sparkling Wines. Gabriele Gregolo was a great wine lover, and after having gained long experience as a commercial director in the family business, is now in charge in management of the cellar. And that's the same photo that is in the brochure, except you can see the flowers. So they're standing on the other side of the flowers to take this. All right, so basically it is straw in color. There's definitely apple and pear and like white peach. And there is the white flower. I can't tell you what it is, but it's not honeysuckle, but it's floral. It's a light floral. On the palate, the acidity is really nice, really making my tongue salivate. I can't even talk because my tongue is salivating so much right now. But it is mostly green apple and peach, and the finish just lingers. You know, that high acidity, that finish is just going to linger and linger. They recommend drinking this wine, or I'm sorry, pairing this wine with savory, rich dishes, pate, shellfish, oysters, mussels, au gratin. So that's pretty much the go-to for sparkling wine. But they also recommend fruit tarts, dry pastries, and sweet flat cakes. And I'm going to say your lemon biscotte would probably kick butt with this.
What's a flat cake?
A flat cake is like a cake, just not a lot of yeast, so it's not
Okay.
flaky. It's like a flatbread.
Okay.
And I kind of think a biscotti is considered a flat cake
Okay.
because it's like a denser. It's a denser.
I made biscotti one year for my cookie swap, my Christmas cookie swap. Oh my God, it was so time consuming. They didn't come out that good. This biscotti recipe, hands
Easy.
down, easy, simple, delicious.
There you go.
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
I was impressed with myself. They lasted like one day in my house. I mean, I shared some with the neighbors. I went and I put some on my neighbor's doorstep, and I took some to work and gave it to Gus for him and his girlfriend. It made maybe 20 biscottis.
Oh wow.
The rest, all me.
Mike likes biscotti. I'm not a huge biscotti fan. I like more things that are softer to chew into.
Yeah,
But
I will.
Mike likes biscotti.
I will say, like when you see the picture of the biscotti in my presentation, it's got icing on it, and I didn't put the icing on it because I don't like it so sweet.
Oh, right.
So should I go with the food pairings?
You are up
All
for
right, now that we got you guys all
biscotti.
excited on this biscotti. So we'll do the food pairings. So this is a food pairings for the Glera grape prosecco.
Oh, that's
because it comes in the different styles. Some of the sweeter, like the biscotti would probably taste really well with the prosecco that I have, because it tends for me to be a little bit on the sweeter side. So you have to pair the prosecco that you have with the right type of food, but in general it'll all go together. It'll all pair well together.
That's an omelet. I thought
that is an omelet. That is a mushroom omelet.
I thought it was
so there's two very Italian touches for this omelet. You have the use of mozzarella cheese, and you have olive oil, and you have mushrooms. So it'll be a richer omelet, and with the infusion of the mushroom flavor, it'll cut through the acidity of the prosecco wine. So it should pair really well with the prosecco. So think of it, breakfast, champagne, prosecco brunch, especially when you're in quarantine.
Yeah.
People have an Irish coffee for breakfast, have prosecco with your omelet, no problem. No judgment passed here. Quiche is another good pairing with it. Now this, I did a classic quiche with the ham and everything, and that also will cut with the acidity in the prosecco.
That is what I am going to have with this. I made quiche the other night, and we actually did two, so that we had one for dinner that night, and I am going to have some quiche tonight. And it is just basic quiche, broccoli, bacon, and normal stuff.
That'll taste good.
Yep.
So this is smoked salmon. I like my smoked salmon. I like lox cream cheese on a bagel with a slice of red onion. But this will taste really well because it's as elegant as the prosecco that I have in my glasses. This is an elegant kind of smoked salmon dish. It uses ricotta cheese, dill, and lemon. So the smoked salmon sits on a ricotta cheese that's mixed with dill and lemon. So this will taste phenomenal. It's on a crostini. Oh my God, we got to do this at the restaurant.
Yeah.
I don't know. Actually, that would be good for takeout. But that to me, I love smoked salmon. Especially the ricotta cheese is a different twist. So you got all things Italian there. So
sidebar for the restaurant, we have been every Friday, we have been supporting local and going to a different restaurant. And we ordered a bruschetta at this one place. And so kind of similar to this, but what they did was they put the crostini, the toast in one container, and then they put the diced tomatoes, which had the garlic and some olive oil in it, in another container. And then they had cheese. They had the Parmesan cheese in a third container. And then my all-time favorite, balsamic vinegar glaze in another one. So when we came home, it wasn't mushy. It wasn't anything like that because it was all separate. And then we just put everything together, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, we kind of do it. We have a Hunter's Terrine. That's an app, and we package it that way. The terrine itself is separate. Then you have the cornichons, you have the mustards. Everything's in all the little containers. It's
Right.
It's gourmet to go.
Yep.
It's like instead of him Gus plating everything on a plate, it's plated in a box.
Correct.
Or a pan, depending if you order the family meal. So shrimp cocktail, especially with the horseradishy cocktail sauce, is good. And of course, you got to have the antipasta. The meats and the cheeses. Lori's favorite. I don't know so much about the meat, but the cheeses.
Cheese.
And then we have clams. Spaghetti and clams. The only thing that I would add differently to this particular spaghetti and clam dish is I would cook with the Prosecco in the clam sauce, in the sauce. So I'd have the clams and the Prosecco, and I would, alter the recipe a little bit. And braised chicken and Prosecco. So, you cooked it with it, you drink it.
Yeah.
And here I thought that this was just like way cool, because you could have on a plate or in a glass. It's strawberry shortcake.
Yeah. Prosecco is good for that.
That's right. Strawberry shortcake on a plate or in a glass.
Yeah.
And here's my biscotti.
Yeah.
So see how they have the icing on it? To me, that would be too sweet. I just kind of liked it plain. So that's what, if you're really going to get fancy and you want to do the recipe the way it calls for, go ahead, make the recipe and show me your pictures.
There you go.
And then here we have a creme brulee with some fresh fruit, just like what your, pairing said. So this Prosecco would taste great with creme brulee.
Yes.
And I also think a fruit salad as well. And with the fruit salad, once again, put the Prosecco in with the fruit salad, let it marinate for a couple hours. I think you'd have a really great fruit salad with that. So
yeah, that had mandarin oranges in there, and I think that would be fantastic.
That's my cooking with Prosecco moments there.
All right. And I wrap up the presentation with the fast facts. So Glera fast facts. 5 things if you can't remember anything else when you leave here because you've enjoyed the Prosecco too much, these are the facts that you can take away. So fact number 1, Glera was originally known as Prosecco. The name Glera came about in 2009 to help alleviate confusion between the grape and the town and DOC of Prosecco. Fact number 2, Glera grapes are thin-skinned and are found in very large clusters. Fact number 3, you can expect a wine that is very high in acid and rather low in alcohol. So you don't need to be worried about drinking the entire bottle by yourself. Number 4, Prosecco wines must be made from a minimum of 85% Glera grapes using the Charmat method, which is known as the tank method.
You got the same thing I got. How about that?
Yep. Yep. Mine didn't have the guy next to it, though. But...
Oh, I put the guy next to it.
Oh, okay. And fact number 5, according to Fortune magazine, Prosecco is now the best-selling sparkling wine in the world by volume. So it has outproduced champagne.
Wow.
And there you have it, folks. There is the Glera grape, better known as Prosecco.
AKA Prosecco.
Or Prosecco. And when I'm stuck at the airport in the United Club, that is what I am drinking.
That's what you drink?
Yes. That is what I do. Because the wine is atrocious.
Well, too bad that we weren't, together for this one and savoring off the boat or whatever, but the boat's not in the water anyway, so.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
And now next month we were supposed to be doing H for Hunter Valley.
Correct.
But we're not quite sure. I mean, I can't find Hunter Valley where I am, so I had looked for it. Oh, thanks, Karen. You be safe too. So we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do.
So I think that I can probably get my hands on Hunter Valley because our Total Wine is actually open Tuesday through Thursday. They're closed the rest of the days. So I might be able to grab it, but we're going to play this one by ear. But Debbie,
I'll call the liquor stores here. I know the one that's next to the grocery store right by my house doesn't have it because I was in there before looking for it. But there's a larger one, so I'll call Joe Canals and see if they have it.
Yeah.
But that's my only choices.
So at least I don't know, because Hunter Valley isn't that big. You know what I mean? It's not as easy to get. But I can't type and talk at the same time. But we're going to play that one by ear. But if it does go off when it is supposed to go off, Debbie.
Oh, when is it? So it's the 3rd Monday of the month. So that would be, let me get my handy dandy calendar out. It would be May 18th.
May 18th.
And we're supposed to come off a quarantine on the 15th.
Right. But I don't think there's going to be a mad dash to get to liquor stores and get Hunter Valley.
Well, I don't think Hunter Valley, and I'll have to look.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Because I know I looked at Viscount. I know Paige didn't have it when I was up in New York. So, and I thought, I'll be going back up again. I'll stop at Stu Leonard's Wines, and well, then the world went crazy. And
so we are going to plan on May 18th.
Yes.
But, it may not happen. And if we can't get Hunter Valley for May 18th, we may just drink together and talk.
Yeah, and talk all things wine, or we'll figure it out. But May 18th, we will have a program, whether it's Hunter Valley or bring a bottle of your favorite, and we'll discuss your questions, whatever questions you may have on wine, or we'll figure it out.
So thank you everybody for joining, and we appreciate your support. Please stay safe. I am hoping we are, over the hump here. It does seem to be that way here where I am. So I am hoping May 15th is really when we're out of this. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay home, drink wine.
Yes.
Tag Debbie and myself in any posts that you do about anything you drink, but especially if you go out, if you have a Glera, if you have a Prosecco.
Yes. Show us your Prosecco that you're drinking. And thank you guys so much for coming, and we will see you guys next month. Cheers. Be safe.
Sláinte.
Be healthy. Bye.